Hello everyone, so I'm back with another video. If you're tuning in for the first time and you haven't watched my previous videos, my name is Ellen Santana. I'm an indie author getting ready to publish my second book and republish my first book, which is a historical fantasy series that followed flawed heroes on their journey to save the world, where they struggle between doing what they want to do versus what they have to do. Because come on, let's face it, revenge is so much more satisfying than sacrificing yourself for the greater good. And between you and me, let's not lie to ourselves. We all know which side we're picking if we had the choice. As I said in the last video, I'm focusing my channel on documenting my progress and experience. I started with a video on why I needed to republish my first book. Then I follow up with a video on world building. I focus on the magic and the creatures that I chose to put in my stories and why I made those choices. And this video is just going to continue the world building saga, and it's going to move on to locations. So the places I chose, what made them different, what I created, and why I created it. So a little background about me before I get started on this video. I was born in the Dominican Republic, which is an island in the Caribbean. I led a fairly happy childhood, mainly because I had an amazing mother that made sure that I never realized how much we truly struggled, and the poverty that we went through never actually touched me. When I was older, we moved to New York. I share this because due to my background, I always lived in places that had once been oppressed. They rebel, and then they had a one person leadership kind of government where that person was voted out after a certain amount of time. For this reason, I had always been fascinated by monarchies and the thought that one person or family could rule a country or a kingdom for life. This turned into a love for monarchy dramas or historical dramas, and this meant that a historical fiction was always going to be in my wheelhouse in the future or now. So this was the reason why I picked the places that I pick and the time period that I pick. So my fascination with monarchy was fairly broad, until I went into school and I started learning more about the histories of a lot of these monarchies, and I kind of focused my interest on European monarchy just because I felt they shared very much a lot of the similarities ethically, traditionally, and religiously with us. So it felt like the same world, like a different dimension. Us, but in a different dimension. And the fact that the king or queen was never seen as a dictator, because in our side of the hemisphere, a ruler that has been ruling for life or that tries to rule for life is basically a dictator. So that comparison was so striking and so weird to me, so much so that I've gone on research binge just to like know more about like different monarchs and why they were the way they were. This developed a kind of love for the psychology of monarchs, and then after seeing the Tudor series, based on Henry VIII's life and reign, I became obsessed with Henry VIII and like the psychology of him, going from this young kind of idealistic ruler who many believe had a lot of potential, to being this like tyrant that everybody feared and absolutely hated, and then became infamous in history. So from watching the Tudor series, I developed kind of a crush on Jonathan Rhys-Meyer, who played Henry VIII, and Henry Cavill, who played Charles Brandon, his best friend, and the Duke of Suffolk. And obviously after that, I kind of did what any avid reader or writer does, and I turned to fan fiction, to read stories about them, which in turn became this like passion and like desire to write my own. And as I was writing my own fan fiction, it just turned into something. It snowballed into something that wasn't really a fan fiction, wasn't really Tudor related, didn't really have Henry VIII. So I eventually realized it wasn't fan fiction anymore, and I realized I was writing an actual story. But that was the inspiration. That's where it kind of all began. So what I did leave in my story from that inspiration was the setting. So I left in medieval time. In my previous videos, I said I wanted a little more freedom, so I took out religion, the very restrictive, very like suffocating religion, not necessarily worshiping celestial beings, because they're two different things, and I'm not I'm not gonna get into that. But anyways, I took out religion so that I could have more freedoms with pairings, with love stories, with kind of the fantasy aspect of it. But I left the time period, so it was a little hard to mix kind of that time period with a little more modern aspects that don't necessarily go well, but I had to make them kind of clash without it seeming out of place. My fellow writers would understand how hard that is. But I think I did a fairly good job. You guys, hopefully you guys will read the book and will let me know if I did or if I didn't. As for location, I wasn't really interested in creating a new world. At the time, I just started traveling. I think I took my first trip, which was to Vienna, Austria. And I just became so enamored with the world and traveling and seeing new places that I took inspiration from the places I've been to, which were at the time mainly Europe. I was working my way up to kind of more than 7 hours on a plane, which I haven't worked my way up to yet. But yeah, I wanted to kind of, it was kind of like my love letter to those places I've been that enamor me, that opened my horizon. So yeah, very much this place is based on Europe. It's my version of Europe. So I did my own research with places. I mix and match places. So a place you will find in Italy, maybe I put it somewhere up north, or you know, a place that you would find in Asia, I kind of put it somewhere in Europe. The same thing I did with the time period. So I researched the hell out of like medieval times and the food they liked, the clothes they wore, even the words they used during sex for different body parts. I tried to use all that, and then I added my own spin to it, of course, because it's fantasy, and without religion I had a little more freedom to kind of play around with it. Same thing with location, inspire on places I've been to, use inspiration from places I want to go to, and then added maybe a magical aspect to them, maybe a portal, maybe floating buildings or something like that. Let me know if you guys want kind of like a deeper video on kind of the world I built and what I imagine other places to be besides Europe, which I named New Venice, how I kind of created the world in my story. It wasn't really created, but it was just kind of, like I said, my love letter to my travels and the world that we currently live in, which is absolutely beautiful, and the history that I've always loved, except, you know, take a little of the ugly parts. I also added kind of historical aspects that are going on now, like the issue with racism, and give it a new spin because it's something that I've personally gone through, and I felt like it felt good to add it in. And then overall, it just turned into this kind of like homage to kind of the world and what the world has provided for me. That sounded so cliche. But anyways, yeah, thank you for watching this video. For the 9 of you that watched, thank you to the people that watched the previous videos. Don't forget to like. Hopefully you'll want to subscribe after hearing me ramble on, and if not, at least check out my book, The Hero's Descent, which is out now, and I'm available in Amazon in ebook version and paperback. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I got it right, if I got it wrong, if you like it, if you hate it. I love criticism. I like, you know, I use it to improve. Real criticism, not just trolling. So let me know what you think. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next video. Well, not see you, but you know what I mean. Like, I hope you watch the next video. And I'm gonna let you go before I turn this into like cringy instead of just awkward. So, bye.